Hey guys, I am back with Wardens. When we last were here, Zamir had gone to the market where she found Brenna Zatchet, who was yelling about the cult of Seven Daggers. And Zamir approached her. She wanted to know more. And, well, let's just see what we have here. In our first scene was the market. Zamir heads towards the market, hearing the shouts of a woman in the streets. She approaches her, the talk about cults having piqued her interest. Brenna continues on shouting about the cult, but no one seems to be listening. Zamir stops in front of her, makes eye contact, and asks her to stop for a moment to talk about this cult. Brenna says the cult is angry because they have not been able to overtake the city. There are rumors that they plan on unleashing some sinister force or monstrosity to do it for them. My husband is the leader, but no one will listen. You need to destroy his sacred tomb before it is too late to prevent him from summoning this creature. While Brenna speaks with Zamir, another person in the crowd stumbles into her seemingly innocently, but before Zamir can notice, the person fatally stabs Brenna multiple times and her body slumps to the ground. Zamir springs into action and resuscitates Brenna, wrapping her wounds and getting her to the nearest doctor. And that was the first scene. So, lots of stuff going on there. Just as an overview, if this is your first time, this is my game of Wardens. It's a 24xx hack. You can find it on itch.io. I'll link to it in the description below. I am using Mythic Variations 2, as well as the Location Crafter and the 24xx or 2400 GM-less rules for the game. This is called Miro.com that I'm using as my virtual tabletop. The sidebar that you see over here, sidebar, on the left-hand side is from Foundry, which I'm using to generate, I'm using it as my Oracle because it has a Mythic Variations 2 module that makes things very quick and easy. Down here, these are from dmheroes.com. I'm going to use it to generate my NPCs and add more flavor to the game. And I am using a Google Docs to keep track of everything that I can link into my Miro board. So with all of that explained, we will get on to our next scene. I don't know what this scene is going to be yet. We'll need to roll for it. So the way that Mythic works is if I am in control at the end of the scene, the chaos factor does not change. However, if I am out of control at the end of the scene, we increase the chaos factor. I would say that we are out of control, so I'm going to increase the chaos factor to 5. And I also need to add a couple of things. Well, I added that. Destroy the Sacred Tome. I've got Brenna Zatchet and the Strange Attacker. I'm also going to add her husband, whose name is Steinar Schulfer. And then we are good. I need to change the chaos factor on Foundry. There we go. And we are good to go. Okay. So the way the location crafter works is this. Once you, at least this is how I understand it to work. Once I play through a scene with something involved in each of these columns, I'm going to mark a progress point. So I played through the market, I mark one there. Since there were no encounters, I'm not going to mark a progress point there. but there was a dagger, which was the object used to stab Brenna. Progress point there. We have not used known elements here, so we're not going to worry about that. Now we are going to roll on some tables to see what happens next. Okay, our first thing was the location, and I rolled a 10. I added the progress point. That makes it an 11, which means this is known or random. Encounters is none. Objects is random. Now, I just want to mention real quick, this is just for the start of the scene. Because I rolled no encounters on the last scene, but I obviously ended up having 2 encounters. My first encounter was Brenna, and my second encounter was the guy stabbing her. So they can come up, but this is just to see if the location crafter is going to give me an encounter to start with. So we have known or random. Let's go with, we don't have any known locations, so we'll need to do random. So for this location, I rolled on the table and I got bright atmosphere. Bright atmosphere. So we are either in a very well lit place or we are outside, like in full sunlight. I'll come back to that in a second. Let's find out what this object is. It's random. So with this, I've got expected magnificent. And I want to know a bit more about the object. I want to know, what does it do? So I got transform good. Bright atmosphere. And an expected magnificent object that transforms good. Well, I need to think about where Zamir would be headed. She knows that she needs to find this sacred tomb of Brenna's husband. But I don't think she got to know all the answers that she needed. Or maybe she needs Brenna's help. I think this bright atmosphere is actually like a hospital room, because we've taken Brenna to the hospital. So it makes sense. Be a hospital room, expected magnificent object that transforms good. This is just going to be, I don't know, something that is healing Brenna. Is it magic? We'll say it's magic salve. Okay. We have hospital room, no encounters, and magic salve. So that gives us our scene setup. We are looking at after it's obviously been a while after she's brought Brenna in, and Brenna's been given this magic salve, and we will see if the scene is altered. Scene proceeds normally. Okay, so Zamir returns to Brenna's bedside after she is treated. The room is bright and warmly lit. The whole place seems to have a calming atmosphere. The doctor spreads a magic salve on Brenna's wounds, and before her eyes, the skin begins to stitch itself back together. Brenna is uncomfortable, but relieved. So Zamir, she stands up and goes to Brenna's bedside, and she places her hand on hers, and she says, I know this is not the best time, but I do need to know where I can find your husband, or where I can find this sacred tomb. Okay, so we have a roll to do. There really is no risk here, so I'm gonna let the fate die tell me what I need to know. I need to know I would say that it has to be yes. Has to be. And I said that because I mean Brenna is the one who told her that this needed to happen. Does Brenna want to go with her to show her? I would say, let me see here. Oopsies. I got. Okay, Brenna wants to go with her. Okay, Brenna acknowledges Zamir's presence. She sits up in bed, clutching her wounds. The salve sits on the table and she grabs it, tucking it into her clothing as she gets dressed. Come, I will show you. She took the salve because it said that she takes something. So that's what we took. And this is a fairly short scene. I'm not gonna bother with wondering if they let her leave or not. It seems like the magic has done its trick. So they leave. We go on to the next scene, which is going to be Brenna's home. I wonder if it's her home. Let's see. Does Brenna. Okay, frighteningly rustic. Is this like a creepy cabin in the woods? Yes. Okay, good to know. Okay, so I need to make sure I'm updating this as well. So we ended that scene. Okay. So we ended this scene in the hospital room where we were in control. So we're going to lower the chaos factor to 4. And I am going to go in here and give some progress points. Let's see, we are on 2 here, still none there, and 2 here. Okay, we know that the next location is a cabin, a creepy cabin we determined. However, we're still going to get it described to give it more flavor. Oh, before we do that, we're going to do creepy. I'm going to try something. Creepy cabin and locations, and we'll see what happens when we do the tables for the location crafter. Okay, we got expected, none, and none. Since we expected to go to the creepy cabin, I'm going to put it here. Since we also know it's a known location in this place, I'm going to keep it there on locations in case we come back to it. And there is that. So she leads us to the creepy cabin. That is what we're going with. Let's see if the scene is altered. It was. So we got Focus PC, that's got to be Zamir, Generously Familiar, and Vengeance Victory. Okay, and our scene was that Brenna was taking her to wherever they could find the sacred tome, which ended up being a creepy cabin in the woods outside of the place. And the scene was altered. Focus PC, Generously Familiar, Vengeance Victory. Well, something's happening here. We know that. Is there somebody else at the cabin? Oh, goodness. Okay. This isn't going the way that we wanted it to go, huh? Okay, so I asked, is there somebody else at the cabin as I was trying to figure out this altered scene. Because what I was thinking was that there was somebody here who who knows Zamir, who is trying to outdo her, I guess, is trying to get ahead on this case, like vengeance victory. It just seems like, and generously familiar. Seems like maybe this was a former partner or something. They split up and they are trying to steal her thunder. So this is interesting to me. There is not only somebody else at the cabin, but the random event of PC negative Carrie prison. And this is where I was worried about using Mythic when I had such a straightforward storyline. Like I had the plot, I had the adventure seed ready. Um, I just I I was kind of prepared for this, but I wasn't prepared to play out a game that might take me away from my adventure seed. So, and this seems like it could could uh potentially do that, but we'll see what happens. Let's see. So before I continue, I want to interpret what is going on. I'm not even going to ask. It says exceptional, yes. Not only is somebody at the cabin, but it is somebody that knows Zamir and that is trying to one up her and PC negative Carrie prison. That sounds like they are trying to arrest her for something. Has Zamir broken the law? Oh, okie dokie. Well, there's that. Okay, so not only has she broken the law, but she also. Oh my gosh. Well, let's see what she did. Waste riches, threateningly powerful. This favors NPC. Okay, so this is all coming together. So we need to kind of tie this up. Is there somebody else at the cabin? An exceptional yes. So that is not just yes, that's yes and. Yes, there's somebody at the cabin and they are seeking to arrest her. Okay. Has the mirror broken the law? Another yes and. And she fled from her crime. What did she do? It looks like she threatened this NPC, whoever this is in the cabin, threatened to use her warden's powers against him if he waste riches. I feel like she made him give up his money. Maybe she's kind of a Robin Hood figure. Zamir. He must be. Let's roll. Let's find out who this guy is. Well, we don't know if it's a guy or a lady. Let's see. 50-50. Is it a man? No, it is not a man. So I got this lady. Her name's Freitas Hackshield. We'll learn a little bit more about her in a second. Go ahead and put him over here. We'll do NPC she's met over here. Okay, we got Freitas Hack Shield. I don't know how they think 92 years old is a young adult. Maybe it is in Dwarfland. 4'9", shrill voice, misuses words, smells like cinnamon. Loves sleeping, wants to buy the party a drink, goes fishing. Sometimes these are gold, like this one was really cool. Sometimes they're like this, but I'm gonna leave it right there. There she is, Freitas Hack Shield. Okay, Zemir threatened Freitas with the powers bestowed upon her by her spirit guide and her incantations if she did not distribute her wealth among the poor in her community. So, even though she committed a crime, which was threatening an officer of the law, she did it for a good reason. I think that's important. So, here we go. Zamir and Brenna travel a ways from the fortress into the surrounding forest. Brenna explained there was a secret cabin that her husband escaped to engage in his cultist activities. She knew this because she secretly followed him one night. As they got closer, they noticed movement in the cabin, but it wasn't Brenna's husband. I think that Zamir is going to try to sneak around, see if she can sneak, to not get caught, because she still needs the tome that's inside this cabin that Freitas has discovered. So let's roll a d8. A 4. On a 3 to 4, it's a setback, a lesser consequence. So I'm going to roll a d6 and see what happens. I got a 2. You mostly get it, but the cost is higher than you thought. Barter with a minor obstacle or add an unintended consequence. So, well, at least we are successful. Write this down. Okay, so we know it was a partial success. We know that she sneaked to try to see better. I think this minor obstacle or unintended consequence is going to be that. I think it's going to be that because the risk was if it was a disaster, I think that Freitas would have attacked her immediately upon seeing her. But since it was a partial success, she was able to sneak up. She was able to sneak, but she was noticed by Freitas. But Freitas's disposition is a little more amenable. She's not going to attack her immediately. So let's say minor obstacle. Freitas. Let's do a behavior check on Freitas. The theme is searching. Identity. Freitas is a law person. Personality. Okay, makes sense. So Freitas notices somebody. They are two people sneaking around, Brenna and Zamir. And she notices. And she immediately calls out. I think the partial success is that Zamir actually gets inside of the cabin before she notices. But Freitas does notice, and she calls them out. Is it nighttime? Let's see. Oh, there's another random event. This is what I get for. Okay. Okay, perfect. This is actually working out very well. Okay, so this is what happens. Zamir and Brenna, they notice Freitas in the window of the cabin, and they sneak around to see what's going on. Zamir does not recognize Freitas at first. However, So she proceeds to sneak into the cabin. Unfortunately, Freitas notices them. It's a small space after all. And she calls them out. Zamir stands up and sees Freitas. And Freitas is surprised, but also at the ready. But you could tell, Zamir could tell, as much as Freitas wanted to jump into action, she was keeping herself from doing so. And I believe this burden, it says we got postpone a burden. And I do believe, I guess I need to roll on the NPC list to find out who that is. But if I don't like it, I'm going to make it Freitas. We'll see. Update. Ah, there we go. It's Freitas. So, perfect. So, Freitas postpone a burden. It does say NPC positive, but whatever. We are translating this as much as Freitas wants to arrest Zamir for her threats, she has bigger fish to fry, and I believe is Freitas investigating this cult. I'm gonna say that it's very likely. Yes, I knew it. Okay, so Zamir and Brenna sneak into the cabin to see who is rummaging around the place. In the dark, they were able to avoid arousing suspicion, at least until they got into the same space. The person in the cabin spotted them. You, show yourselves. Zamir recognized her voice at once and stood up. Freitas. Brenna stood up as well, confused about what was happening. Freitas froze, hand on her weapon. Zamir could tell she wanted to pursue, but for some reason she did not move. Zamir did not move either. There was no way Freitas forgot her threat so quickly. You, what are you doing here? I should arrest you, Freitas exclaimed, still gripping the hilt of her sword, but not moving. Zamir put up her hands. Freitas, there is something evil afoot, and it is my bound and sworn duty to prevent it and protect these innocent people. Is it the cult? Freitas asked, relaxing her hand. Yes, it is, Brenna interjected. We are here for a tome. Brenna looks around, squinting in the dim light. Zamir extends a hand. Freitas, we are on the same side here. Let me do this, then you can take me. A disgusted look came across Freitas's face, but she sighed. Very well. I'm investigating a disappearance that has led me here. I think it all has to do with this cult of the Seven Daggers. As much as that would be a cool place to end it, I do need to know, we got to finish up the scene. We came here for the tome, and so I want to know if we find it. Is the tome here? I'm going to say unsure, because who knows if he took it or not. Is the sacred tome here? Nice. Okay, the sacred tome is here. Zamir, since Freitas has agreed to stand down, Zamir is going to search high and low for this tome. We asked if the tome was here. It seems a bit redundant to ask if we find it. But for the sake of this game and the game that I want to play, I'm going to say that since it's here, that we do find it. So, let's see, does Zamir find it? Is the way we'll do it. We'll find out who finds it. No, it's not Zamir. So it is either Freitas or Brenna. Brenna probably knows what this tome looks like. So I don't need to ask unnecessary questions. After some searching, Brenna is able to uncover the tome. Was it hidden? Yes, that's what I thought. Gladly lovely. Okay. So Brenda is able to uncover the tome. She found it hidden underneath some beautiful tapestries. There we go. Gladly lovely. Beautiful tapestries. Brenna is able to uncover the tome. She found it hidden underneath some beautiful tapestries. Stayed apart. Now I want to know, does Freydis accompany them? I mean, this all sounds exceptional, no. So not only does she not accompany them, delay legal matters. That's obvious what it is. To me, anyways, it's the exceptional no and. So, no and. She not only does not accompany them, she forges her own investigation. Okay, not only does she not accompany them, she also isn't going to help them. She's going to forge her own investigation. Okay. Okie dokie. So that is the end of this scene. We got a couple scenes in this time. Uh, this is very interesting. It's taking some twisty turns. So I feel like we were in control this last scene. So I'm gonna put the chaos factor down to 3. I'm going to make sure that my stuff is updated. We finished this, so that is 3, none, and 2. Make sure this is updated. We've got Freydis, the sheriff. Okay. So that's where we're at. Sounds good. Until next time, guys, I'll see ya.